لا إله إلا الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب إلهنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وغائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. For the hastening and reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi, recite salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. We are locating at the month of Muharram and near the day of Ashura. So we want to talk about the reasons and also some movements of Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam according to the teaching and the verses of Holy Quran. We say that at the end of the Prophet's life, the Prophet recited a hadith which is very famous, إِنِّي تَارِكٌ فِيكُمُ الثَّقْلَيْنِ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَعِتْرَتِي. So we see these both are together from now to the Yawm al-Qiyamah. So also Imam Hussein, when he started his trip from Medina to Karbala and also to Kufa, all the time and all these aspects, he had some verses of Holy Quran. So when he was in Medina, he knew that they are going to enforce Imam Hussein to give their allegiance for Yazid. Imam Hussein didn't want to accept Yazid as the leader of the Mu'mineen and Muslimin. So he started to leave Medina. But he said, I am going to leave Medina because I want to perform Hajj. At the beginning, Marwan, who was one of the representatives of Yazid in Medina, came to Imam Hussein and he wanted to block Imam Hussein's way. Imam said, وَيْلَكَ يَا مَرْوَانَ فَإِنَّكَ رِجْسٌ. Because Imam Hussein said that you are unclean. And he recited this verse of Holy Quran. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. Because Allah wants uncleanliness be away from us, from we, the households of Prophet. So because you are rich and you are unclean, I want to be away from you. So his words were compiled with some verses of Holy Quran. The second ayah that Imam Hussein recited during this trip we call, when he wanted to go to Karbala, he started to write a will. In his will, Imam Hussein also wrote this verse of Holy Quran. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ وَإِلَيْهِ أُنِيبُ. Imam Hussein in this verse said that I only trust in Allah. So we should trust in Allah. Imam Hussein recited this verse exactly at that time too. The next ayah that Imam Hussein recited when he was going to this trip, he was going out of Medina So he wasn't completely out of Medina, but on his way, Imam Hussein, it was around 28th of Rajab. Imam Hussein recited this verse of Holy Quran also. فخرج منها خائفا يترقب قال رب نجني من القوم الظالمين. This is one of the verses of Holy Quran about the Prophet Moses. When he went out of his people, he was a little frightening. So Imam Hussein recited this verse and said, رب نجني من القوم الظالمين. Oh Allah, save me from these people, from the oppressors. It shows that the way Imam Hussein has chosen for himself, he wanted to be away from the oppressors. They were oppressed. Imam Hussein didn't want to be with them. The next ayah that Imam Hussein recited when he was on the battle, it was the 3rd of Sha'ban, and Imam Hussein entered into Mecca. Also Imam Hussein recited this verse, وَلَمَّا تَوَجَّهَ تَلْقَاهُ مَدْيَنَا قَالَ عَسَى رَبِّي أَنْ يَهْدِنِي سَوَاءَ السَّبِيلِ. This is also one of the verses that Imam Hussein recited. So it means that I ask Allah's guidance. عَسَى رَبِّي أَنْ يَهْدِنِي. Because he knew his way. He wanted to show his way to the others too. That I am doing this. This movement is only because of Allah. Nothing else. Nobody else's. And also, he recited another verse of Holy Quran. When he was in Mecca, he was talking to Ibn Abbas. That you know as well, of course. He was talking about Bani Umayyah, and he recited this verse about Bani Umayyah. إنهم كفروا بالله وبرسوله ولا يأتون الصلاة إلا وهم كسالى. So Imam Hussein said they reject Allah and His Messenger. إنهم كفروا بالله وبرسوله. Because he was talking about Bani Umayyah. Bani Umayyah are those people that reject Allah, and also not only Allah, the Messenger of Allah too. And they say prayer without the earnestness. They are not eager to the prayer. Just they want to say that we are Muslims. And also Imam Hussein about them also said that يُرَاءُونَ النَّاسِ وَلَا يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهِ إِلَّا غَلِيلًا. They want to be seen among the people because they don't mention Allah, just a few of them. They want to be seen. رِعَاءً يَرْؤُونَ النَّاسِ. They want the people to see them, just to say that they are Muslims, not the others. So we say that this trip is full with some verses. The next verse that Imam Hussein said, it was near Eid al-Adha. It was the time that Imam Hussein was leaving Mecca to Kufa. One of the representatives of Yazid that he was living in Mecca came to Imam Hussein and he wanted to block his way. He didn't let Imam Hussein to go. So they had an argument, and after a little, Imam Hussein recited this verse, لِي عَمَلِي وَلَكُمْ عَمَلُكُمْ أَنْتُمْ بَرِيئُونَ مِمَّا أَعْمَلُ وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. So Imam Hussein mentioned that my works to me and yours is to you. You are free from the responsibility of what I do and I for what you do. So in these verses Imam Hussein wanted to say, let me live here. I don't want to stay here. And because these words of Imam Hussein were filled with the verses of Holy Quran, they showed that Imam Hussein is doing according to the Islam's Islamic view. The next ayah that Imam Hussein mentioned, it was the time that on the way of Karbala, Imam Hussein recited a verse about when he heard about Muslim ibn Aqil, that he was martyred. He was murdered by those people. He said, "Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un." Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So it means that the trip is for God. We have started our way for God. So we are going to Allah, and all our return is to Allah too. The next ayah. When Imam Hussein was near Karbala, on that way he was faced with Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. So Hurr was one of the commanders of the Yazid's, troops. He has came to block Imam Hussein's ways, and he didn't want Imam Hussein to reach to Kufa. So Hurr came to Imam Hussein and asked Imam Hussein, "Why you have come here? Why are you here? Why you have come here? Come back to your city." Imam Hussein said that you have invited me with your people. You have sent me lots of letters and you forget everything. Now you are forgetful and regretful. So at this time, Imam Hussein recited this verse of Holy Quran. فَمَنْ نَكَثَ فَإِنَّمَا يَنْكُثُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ. It showed that they have break their oath. So anyone who breaks his faith has injured his own faith, has injured his own soul. فَمَنْ نَكَثَ فَإِنَّمَا يَنْكُثُ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ. The other verse of Holy Quran that Imam Hussein recited at this trip was when Imam Hussein heard also about Qais ibn Musahhar. Qais ibn Musahhar has the message from Imam Hussein to Kufa, but they murdered Qais ibn Musahhar too, the same as Muslim ibn Aqil. When Imam Hussein heard about Qais ibn Musahhar, he started to cry. So he cried and recited this word and this verse of Holy Quran. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ غَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. Some of the people have completed their vow, and some still wait. They have never changed their determinations. So, as I told you before, by reciting the verses of Holy Quran all the time, Imam Hussein was mentioning the people that my trip is because of Allah. Everything that I am saying are not my words, they are the words of Allah. They are some words from Holy Quran. So he wanted to show the way to the people. I am not doing anything out of myself. Everything is because of Allah. The other verse that Imam Hussein mentioned was when the governor of Kufa, who was called Ibn Ziyad, he sent a letter to Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, and he asked him completely to block Imam Hussein's way. So at that time, Hurr showed the letter to Imam Hussein and said, "I'm not doing anything out of myself because this is my commander's, recommendations. I want to do that." Imam Hussein recited this verse of Holy Quran, وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَدْعُونَ إِلَى النَّارِ. Imam Hussein wanted to say that this way that you have chosen is the way to the fire, to the hell. Another verse, Imam Hussein alayhi salam was in Karbala. So Sukaina, that was his daughter, asked Imam Hussein something. about those people that they were in front of Imam Hussein. So Imam Hussein respond to her, استحوذ عليهم الشيطان فأنساهم ذكر الله. So Imam Hussein knew that he can say some other words too, but he recited the verses of Holy Quran. استحوذ عليهم الشيطان فأنساهم ذكر الله. These people have gained the mastery of Satan over themselves. فأنساهم ذكر الله. So the Satan has made them to forget Allah. And finally, it was the day of Ashura. It was the day that Imam Hussein was in front of the troops. He recited these words, فَأَجْمِعُوا أَمْرَكُمْ وَشُرَكَاءَكُمْ ثُمَّ لَا يَكُنْ أَمْرُكُمْ أُمَّةً ثُمَّ اغْضُوا إِلَيَّ وَلَا تَنْظُرُونَ. This is one of the verses which is about Nuh, the prophet. So Imam Hussein said, you get your agreement and plan with your partners, and then you can kill me. So it shows that Imam Hussein knew everything, that they don't let him go and they want to kill him. But also at that time, Imam Hussein recited another verse. So all the time that when we talk about the reasonings of Imam Hussein's movement, we say why Imam Hussein have moved to Karbala. He knew that the people will do this or do that. The words of Imam Hussein shows that Imam Hussein has started his way to go to Karbala because of two things. He said himself, I want to make a big reform in the people of my grandfather, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And also he said, I wanted to enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. Al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa-nahy anil-munkar. So these are two reasons that Imam Hussein has started his movement from Medina to Mecca and then to Karbala. So in Karbala there were some effects and sights that we mentioned some of them. They are all equals the words and verses of Holy Quran. First of all, in Holy Quran Allah recommends people whenever you want to say something, it must be uncertain. It must be on basira. Ud'u ila Allah ala basira. So you should call Allah clearly, in a clear evidence. So we see that Imam Hussein, when he wanted to make the battle with them, he started to preach them. Not only Imam Hussein, but the other companions of Imam Hussein too. Because maybe there is someone inside the troops in front of him that they may say that, oh, if we knew that who is Imam Hussein, we wouldn't take part in this battle. No, Imam Hussein made everything clear to them because this is the recommendations of Holy Quran that says, Ud'u ila Allahi ala basira. He wanted to make basira on the people. Also, we see that the Quran has recommended people to forgive and accept the people's excuse. In Karbala, we see that Imam Hussein accepted the excuse of the whore. When he was, regretful, he came to Imam Hussein and said, oh, forgive me. Please beg my pardon. Imam Hussein accepted him. He didn't say that, no, you wanted to fight with me. So he accepted. So all the time in this trip, Imam Hussein is acting according to the verses of Holy Quran too, according to the teachings of Holy Quran, which are the teaching of Islam too. In Holy Quran, we see that it has says, وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. The final end is belong to the righteous. So we see that all of the good things are belong to the companion of Imam Hussein. Nobody say that the people from Yazid or the troops of Yazid were good. All they say that the Imam Hussein's companion were good people. وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلتَّقْوَى. Also we see that in Holy Quran has mentioned that وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. O Holy Prophet, we have raised your esteem. We have raised your esteem. So in the battle of Ashura and also in Karbala, it was the name of Imam Hussein which was raised. Nobody say that Yazid is good. All the people say that Imam Hussein was good. So this is one of the recommendations of Holy Quran that said to the Prophet, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We see that the dhikr of Imam Hussein and also his esteem was raised, not the Yazids. The Holy Quran recommends people, أُمِرْتُ لِأَنْ أَكُونَ أَوَّلَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, to be as sabiqun or some other verses like this. So to being first is very important in Holy Quran. So we see that Imam Hussein at the beginning, first, he sent his son Ali Akbar to the battle before the other youths of the Bani Hashim. So to be the first. أُمِرْتُ لِأَنْ أَكُونَ أَوَّلَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. So here Imam Hussein sent his son Ali Akbar before the other youths of Bani Hashim. And also in Holy Quran also recommends فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ. It recommends the people to insist. So we see that all of the people in that day, they were completely insisting on the Imam Hussein's way. So in Holy Quran said, if somebody did something bad to you, you shouldn't respond in a bad way. All the time you should respond in a good way. It was the same in Karbala too. وَيَدْرُؤُونَ بِالْحَسَنَةِ السَّيِّئَةِ. In Karbala we see what did Imam Hussein with Hor. You know, Hor came to Imam Hussein, blocked his way. But what did Imam Hussein? Imam Hussein even gave water to their horses also. This is the Holy Quran that forbids people from wrong actions, and also Imam Hussein did. Imam Hussein said, the reason that I have started from Medina to go to Karbala and to Kufa is that I want to forbid the people from being wrong. Another recommendations that the Holy Quran wants people to do is ridayat, to be happy with whatever Allah wants. So we see completely in Karbala is the same. Rizan biridag. So Imam Hussein was happy completely. But what happened at that day? So another thing which is very important, that something about the prayer happened in Karbala too. We see that at the beginning of the Surah Al-Baqarah, there is a verse which says, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ. So Imam Hussein was one of those people who has performed prayer when he was in Karbala. If the Holy Quran says, إِرْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ, so what did Imam Hussein do? He started to perform prayer in front of the troops. At the front, when they were in battle with each other. If we see that in Holy Quran says that you should perform prayer at its special time, أَقِمِ الصَّلَاةَ لِدُلُوكِ الشَّمْسِ, we see that Imam Hussein at that time exactly performed prayers at noon. These are some sides of Holy Quran that they were in Imam Hussein's actions. even at that day, the day of Ashura. We see that the Holy Jesus, Isa, ala nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam, this is mentioned in Holy Quran that Usani bis salat wa dhakat ma dumtu hayya. So Imam Hussein was performing salat even to the end moments of his life. It was at the end moment of his life, Imam Hussein never forget salat. He didn't say that maybe after the battle we have enough time to say prayer. No. And also we see that in Holy Quran they have mentioned رِجَالٌ لَا تُلْهِيهِمْ تِجَارَةٌ وَلَا بَيْعٌ عَنْ ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَأَقَامِ الصَّلَاةِ. So there were some people at that battle that they came in front of the Imam Hussein when he was saying prayer, and they started to make their chest like a shield in front of the enemies. So these are the things that the Imam Hussein did, and these were the things that make this battle so important and so famous, not only at that time, to the end of the world, because the Imam Hussein's qiyam was only for God. All the time he was fulfilling his words with the words of Allah, with the verses of Holy Quran, and he wanted to show that the people that these actions, these activities that I am doing is not only for me, it's because of Allah. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah wa ala al-arwah allati hallat bi fina'ik alayka minni salamullah abadan ma baqitu wa baqiya al-layl wa an-nahar wa la ja'alahu Allah akhir al-ahd minni li ziyaratikum. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn wa ala awlad al-Husayn. The children of Imam Hussein were in their tents. They heard the voice of Dhul Janah. They happily came out. They said that our father has come back, but when they came out, they saw that Dhul Janah is alone. Imam Hussein is not there. So Zainab started to go up the hill which was called Talla Zainabiyya. She wanted to see what had happened in that battle. When she came there, she saw something that she hoped she wouldn't see. She saw that Shamr is sitting on Imam Hussein's chest. Allah la'natullah ala al-qawm al-zalimin. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ. وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَةُ اللَّهِ وَبَرَكَاتُهُ.